Keep out periodic table, keep out calculator. Today what we have to do is take the two steps that individually we have gone over with mole conversions and do both of them. Because chemistry occurs at the atomic level, so we get to know how many atoms we're working with. However, our scales measure in grams, so we need to be able to go back and forth between these two units, realizing that moles is kind of the middleman. Moles is what connects everything, and it doesn't more than just this. Moles connects a lot of things within chemistry. So here's a typical question number one. What I'm going to do is show you two different ways to do this, and then you get to decide which way you would prefer. Okay, that's completely up to you. Question number one says, how many atoms is 11.2 grams of tungsten? We do not have a direct conversion from atoms to grams or vice versa. Again, moles is the go-between. In the last unit, we tried to do things like millimeters to kilometers for you to do the same sort of thing of have to go to the base unit first of meters and then over. We were trying to train you on doing a two-step process because of what we have to do today. Now, what I would suggest is still immediately writing down what you're given. 11.02 grams of tungsten, which is W. It's Homecoming Thursday. We have to represent with W, right? Yeah. Now, notice in letter A, what I'm suggesting that you do is we know how to go from grams to moles. That's what step one is going to be. So, moles is on the top. I shouldn't have to ask anymore. We all know that 1 mole is on the top. Grams is on the bottom. We look at our periodic table. We round it to the hundredths place. Tungsten, by the way, is element number 74. Who's got a number for me? 183.84. So we start with division. 4 significant digits. And you do not start counting sig digs until you hit your first non-zero. And correct me if I'm wrong here, because Joey caught something that I was off on the last sheet. 0.05994. Okay, I know that's 4 sig digs. I just didn't know if I rounded up or down wrong. Okay, part B. We can now convert that number of moles to atoms. Now, if you had space on the right-hand side, you could just continue this problem. I don't have space because I tried to write big enough so even Emma back there could see me, right? So I'm going to rewrite this number, but I would not recommend rewriting it if you have space. You can always just say, draw an arrow and do the next step. And remember, we abbreviate mole to save space. Step 2 is converting to atoms, which means atoms are on the top. Blessing. 1 mole is on the bottom. And recall, atoms are so super duper tiny, we need a ridiculous number of them to equal anything. That's 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Our final answer, we are going to stick with 4 significant digits based upon the measurement, not based upon the conversion. And let me know if I'm wrong here, but I have 3.608 times 10 to the 22nd. Now, did you carry all the numbers in your calculator to do the second step? So that's probably why it's a little different. I based it upon this right now. And I'll talk about that in a minute, though. 2 steps. We got to be able to do it. Now, instead of doing it that way, I don't know if this is actually going to carry up or not. No, it doesn't. I do say for part C, or you can do both conversions. So, remember how you guys were looking at my answer key a minute ago for the last thing? If I were to solve this question number 1, of how many atoms is 11.02 grams of tungsten, here's what I would do. 11.02 grams of W, set up my first conversion of converting to moles from grams, and again, that number was 183.84. I would immediately do my second conversion. 1 mole's on the bottom, Avogadro's number is on the top. And then, kind of like Alexis was alluding to, I would get 3.609 times 10 to the 22nd atoms of W. I'm showing the exact same work that I did in step 1 and step 2 for part A and part B. However, we recommend, and maybe it doesn't have to be today, but over time, you get used to showing conversions back to back. Because we will be doing more than 2 conversions in a row later in the year. 3, possibly 4. So we want you to get used to this method. Because remember, units are canceling out. Grams on the bottom, grams on the top. Moles on the top, moles on the bottom. Got me to atoms, which is what I want my final answer in. So if I were to type it in, I would type in my 11.02 divided by 183.84 equals. And then I would multiply by Avogadro's number. That way I carry all those digits. When you guys were doing the practice problem, I pointed out to Max back there that he rounded slightly different than someone else at his table. I quite frankly wouldn't take off for that though. Because whether or not you call it 3.609 or 3.608 times 10 to the 22nd atoms, some students will do step 1 and then step 2. So they might round off in between like you saw that I did to start. I would prefer us not to round off in between, even if we are doing 1 step at a time. But this is what we want you to get used to doing, which is why for number 2 down here, I say pick which method you prefer. So, on your own right now, take a couple minutes, you're doing the exact opposite. You're starting at atoms, and you're converting to grams. I want to see 2 conversions. I know some students want to combine the 2 conversions because it's just 1s in 2 spots. That's not how it's written. Okay, we're training you to do it the right way because we're going to be taking another step in the future still. So I want to see 2 conversions. Whichever way you prefer to do it, that's fine. So again, here is what I did for question number 2. If by chance your answer was instead 2.22 times 10 to the 43rd, or something like that, you typed it in wrong into your calculator. Again, whenever we divide by Avogadro's number, we have to have parentheses or something to avoid order of operation issues. Because remember, we will never have an answer in this class to the 45th, 46th, 43rd power. So you've now seen on the previous problem, this problem, a 2-step approach, which is our goal for the day.